Well, good evening. It is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, 7 o'clock. This is meeting number 5332. Will the clerk please call roll?
Mayor Daniel Poe,
Here.
Commissioner Jeff Reinert.
Here.
Commissioner Chuck Taylor,
Here.
Commissioner Rick Sowers,
Here.
Commissioner Michael Byrd.
Here.
We have no invocation. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I'd seek a motion for approval of the agenda.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Carries 5-0. We have no petitions or proclamations. At this time, if there's any visitors, there's a limit of 5 minutes per individual, 15 minutes per topic. Final action may be deferred till the next city commission meeting unless an emergency situation exists. I see no visitors. I'd seek a motion for the consent calendar, or if any commissioner would like to remove or talk about one item.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. At this time, we'll do ordinances and resolutions. We have resolution number 2026-01, a resolution declaring the eligibility of the City of Dodge City to apply for the FY 24-25 federal state partnership for intercity passenger rail grant program and authorizing the city manager to sign and submit such an application. Report by city engineer Tanner Rushman.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Tonight I'm presenting resolution number 2026-6-01. It is, as you mentioned, to apply for a federal grant, and it is for the railroad project that everybody has seen us put out a survey, and we've been getting out there to the public to get input on. So over the past couple years, the city has dealt with delays and block crossings at the railroad crossings downtown for forever. And this is something that city staff knows about and has looked out for federal funds to potentially do something to help alleviate that. And over the past couple years, there has been more federal funds out there available for us to go after and try to get money to do something about the congestion and block crossings. And we have been unsuccessful on the 3 previous applications. We applied in partnership with BNSF on those 3 previous applications. We were notified towards the end of 2025 that there was some new funds that were brought available, federal funds available through the 2024-25 federal state partnership for intercity passenger rail grants program. And so since we had experience already applying previously for federal funds, we felt we were in a pretty good position to look at that NOFO and adapt it to apply for this new grant program. This grant program has about just over $5 billion in federal funds. And what makes it significant for us is it is the only eligible projects are those that happen to be on intercity passenger rail routes, which the Southwest Chief runs through Dodge City. So the BNSF rail through Dodge City is part of the intercity passenger rail route system. So right there, that limits the eligible projects and increases our potential or opportunity to acquire federal funds and have an awarded application. So we continued, we took that NOFO and we worked with BNSF and their hired consultants to adapt our application for this grant program. It is a 80-20 federal, non-federal match. So going through that, we know this would be a very expensive project to move forward with, so we would need some help with our 20% non-federal match. And that's where BNSF came into play, as well as the Build Kansas Fund. And I'll go through those numbers here in a little bit. So as part of the application, you're required to show public outreach to the community and engagement with the community to gauge support and the need for the project. That's where our Christmas, we held a Christmas open house at the MSB to hear back from the public, but we also put out a public survey, which we felt was very successful. We had 885 responses to that survey, and the results showed a strong desire from the community to see something done. There wasn't a strong opinion on what exactly the project had to be, but just there needed to be something done to make an improvement for access when those railroad crossings were blocked. So we put together this application, and it includes 2 at-grade crossings, and one being First Avenue, which would be recommended to remove the at-grade crossing at First Avenue, and then an improved Second Avenue crossing that would have a road underpass going under the railroad at Second Avenue. And if we wanted BNSF to come to the table and support this more financially, that's where First Avenue came in. There's a benefit for them to get that First Avenue crossing off the rails, so that helped them bring more money to the table in their share. Currently, in this program, the engineering, so the grant would include design and construction, and design would not be completed until 2029, so 3 years from now. And then we would anticipate construction to be another 3 years, because this is, like I said, a very, very large and complex project. And the only way that we would ever be able to do something like this would be through federal funds. So currently, the estimate for the project is just shy of $146 million. Now that does include contingency, but that includes all the preliminary engineering and design and construction. Like I mentioned, it's a 80-20 match, so feds would cover 80% and the local or the non-federal match would have to be 20%. We have applied to the Build Kansas Fund for the maximum amount allowable, which is $20 million, to help cover which would cover 13.7%, and that would have 9.1 million remaining for us and BNSF to pick up. Currently, BNSF is willing to contribute $3 million towards the project, which would leave us with just under 6.2 million to cover that 20% non-federal match. Now, like I mentioned, we applied to the Build Kansas Fund. We will not know whether we are awarded the $20 million or anything less than that. They could come back and give us, say, we'll give you $16 million, but we just don't know. We won't know until the end of this month, which is prior to the application due date. So we will know whether we have those Build Kansas funds before we would need to apply for the grant. So approving this resolution tonight does not lock us into having to apply, but it does give Nick, the city manager, the right or the approval from you to sign all documentation for the application. But due to this project being highly supported by the public through our survey, and just knowing that it would be a benefit to the downtown area in terms of safety and just accessibility for the area when trains are blocking the tracks, because trains are only getting longer and the waits are just getting longer and longer as well for the traffic. But it's staff's recommendation to approve Resolution 2026-01, which would authorize the city manager to sign and submit an application to the fiscal year 24-25 federal state partnership for intercity passenger rail grant program on behalf of the city of Dodge City and commit city funds as part of the required non-federal cost share. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
So Tanner, this is what we're approving tonight, is just to apply for the grant. But if for some reason we get the grant, is there a time frame on when we have to spend it or what we spend it on?
Yes, it would all be included in our grant packet or award packet. And that's where the milestone table and schedule, that's why we included that in.
But you're projecting the project to be $145 million total. So where do we, if we get this, where do we come up with the rest of the money to implement something this large of a project?
Our share, our 6.1, that would have to be budgeted by us, whether it's through the street sales tax or bonded by other, or funded through other means.
And in what Tanner's forecasting or assuming is we would get approved for the Build Kansas
Yes.
grant. If we don't, then we're on the hook for 26.183.
Yeah, if we wanted to move forward with the application, yes. Right. That's where having that notification, whether we awarded the Build Kansas funds or not, prior to that date, helps a lot.
But at this time, there's no monetary obligation anywhere.
No,
It's
not
just-
until we submit that application.
We submit the application and we're selected, we're on the hook for
It's-
$6 to $26 million.
You could still reject the application.
You can still reject it?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you do, you run the risk that you probably won't ever get awarded funds because they don't like to award people funds and then have them reject it. So it could hurt any
Why, they
future-
reject us all the time.
But yes, yeah, that's right, correct.
Your Honor, I'd move to approve resolution number 2026-01.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Next up is resolution number 2026-02, a resolution of the City of Dodge City, Kansas, authorizing the preparation of financial statements and financial reports on the basis of cash receipts and disbursements. Report by Nicole May.
Mayor, Commissioners, this resolution is required when preparing the financial statements on the cash basis or KMAG basis of accounting. Prior to 2020, the city's financial statements were issued on the GAAP basis of accounting. The GAAP basis financial statements are very hard to read and understand for those who do not have a finance or accounting background. In the state of Kansas, it is also permissible to issue financial statements on the KMAG or cash basis of accounting. These financial statement and schedules are much easier to read and understand for those who do not have a finance or accounting background. Utilizing this audit format allows the general public to be able to understand the city's financial statement, and this allows the city to be more transparent with our financial statements. So this is a resolution that has to be adopted each year, and this resolution would be for the financial statements for the year ending December 31st, 2025. If there's any questions, I would be happy to answer those.
Are you allowed to put resolutions in the consent calendar?
Yes.
I mean, we're gonna keep it the cash basis for the foreseeable future. I mean, rather than go through this process every year, can you just not drop it in the consent calendar and we just do it as an automatic in the first meeting?
I mean, technically, resolutions, ordinances, any action that we deem that, or the commission deems that won't be controversial or standard issue can be done.
Okay, yep, I can do that going forward.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to approve resolution 2026-02.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. We have no unfinished business. On to new business. We have approval of the audit engagement letter with Kennedy McKee Company for the year ending December 31st, 2025. Report by Nicole May, Finance Director.
Mayor, Commissioners, This engagement letter is for the annual audit for, all cities of the first class are required to have an annual audit. Kennedy McKee has been, engaged to perform the audit for many years. The fees for this service will be based on actual time spent plus other out-of-pocket costs not to exceed $32,250, plus the standard hourly rate for the audit of federal award programs, which is, due to the amount of federal awards that the city does receive, we are required to have an audit of the federal awards. This is a 5% increase over the fee that we paid for 2024. And the amount billed for the audit of federal awards for 2024 was $8,706.25. Kennedy McKee does have extensive background working with the city, and this is a budgeted expense. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Questions for Nicole?
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the audit engagement letter with Kennedy McKee and Company for the year ending December 31st, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Next up, we have approval of 2026 advisory boards and commission appointments. Report by Colin Clark, Public Information Officer.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The process for soliciting interested citizens to fill the expired or vacant positions on the city-appointed boards and commissions has ended. The notice seeking applications was published in the Dodge City Globe, as well as on the City of Dodge City website, the city Facebook page, the community newsletter, and via radio interview. Staff representatives have reviewed the applications and support the mayor's recommendation to the city commission for appointment. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and hop into those being appointed in their boards, which they're appointed to. Also, I apologize if I mispronounce any names or anything like that. But starting off with the Airport Advisory Board, we have the reappointment of Aaron Johnson, Rianne Balmer, and Carlos Alexis Batista Toluza, and Kathy Heckes, and the appointment of Michael Weber. And then in the Building Board of Appeals, we have the reappointment of Emil Vargas, Dana Williamson, and Renee Carniez. For the Community Facility Advisory Board, we have the reappointment of Josh Rosner and Kirsten Winter. For the Conventions and Visitors Bureau, we have the reappointment of Daniela Croach and Hayes Kilman for the at-large positions, and the reappointment of Kim Cunningham for the hospitality position. For the Cultural Relations Advisory Board, we have the reappointment of Yaracel Sanchez, and the appointment of Nympha Marvilla. For the Dodge City Planning Commission, we have the reappointment of Ryan Raby and the appointment of Scott Beatty and Jose Javier Esquivel. For the Golf Advisory Board, we have the reappointment of Scott Bogner. For the Historic Landmark Commission, we have the reappointment of Kathleen Obel, and the appointment of Samantha Rumbar. For the Housing Authority Board, we have the reappointment of Elizabeth Elkins and the appointment of Jenny C. Keller. For the Library Board, we have the reappointment of Mary Hall, Patrick Lopez, and the appointment of Glenna Walker and Angela Doom. For the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, we have the reappointment of Trista Ferguson and Michael Marici. And for the Recycling Advisory Board, we have the reappointment of Ron Ham, Ashley Bradfield, and the appointment of Michael Clark and Jaquan Graves. That being said, I'd be happy to try and answer any questions you all may have.
Any questions for Colin?
You had a pretty good pool of people signed up to try to get on a board, right?
Yes, we did. With that, we had about 46 applicants that applications we received, but we do have to note that we did require that some of those, or all of them seeking reappointment, resubmit an application as well. So that's a part of that as well. That was our first time doing that this year, was having them do that. Just so we have updated information on them.
Your Honor, I'd move to approve the 2026 Advisory Board and Commission appointments for 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners.
Next up, we have approval of a contract amendment to complete additional design scope for Phase 4 levy certification report by Tanner Rutschman, City Engineer.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Tonight I'm presenting the amendment for the Phase 4 levy certification design package with Wilson and Company in the amount of $27,560. We're working with Wilson and Company to complete the final items on our levy certification package, and in doing so, we identified a few additional items, scope items, that we should take care of to include in the package. Two of those are hydrology related, and one is has to do with a 5-year inspection and report for the outfalls. The hydrology related tasks are due to the updated hydrology used for the base flood elevation through the levee system, which we got to from when we first started the project to now what it is now. It was basically cut in half. It started out about 52,000 cubic feet per second, and we got it down to about 26,000 cubic feet per second, which allowed us to not have to do any levee raises and helped save us quite a bit of money there. So the hydrology related tasks are on the dry side of the levee. There are interior floodplains. So those interior floodplains are mapped, and the current floodplain mapping on the dry side of the levee is based off of the old river hydrology. So it's not accurate to the hydrology used for the levees. So that needs to be updated with the new hydrology, which we could see a potential benefit if those, with the reduced hydrology going through the base, with the base flood, we could see those areas shrink, because currently those areas extend beyond the constructed detention ponds or the ponding areas, and actually do cover some structures at the based on the old hydrology. So with this updated mapping, we could get those structures out of that floodplain, which would be an improvement, definite improvement. The other hydrology related tasks has to do with levee operations during a flood event. So currently we have 8 gaps in the or openings in the levee system, and those are our bridges, the railroad bridge, and there's some out on East Rose Garden Road, where we basically have a cut through the levee. So during a flood event, you have to go and you have to fill that gap, whether it's with sandbags or water bladders, but whatever means you determine you want to use to close that gap. We're getting rid of 2 of those gaps with the reconstruction of the northbound 14th Avenue Bridge. But based on the old river hydrology, the gap closure at the 2nd Avenue Bridge was almost 4 feet tall. So whatever means you determine that you want to close that gap, it has to be 4 feet tall, whether it's sandbags, big bags, water bladders, whatever. That's a lot of material you have to have on hand to perform that closure, complete that closure during a flood event. So if we go off the new river hydrology, we can reduce the height of those closures and significantly reduce how much material we have to have on hand to perform that closure operation, because as part of our certification, we have to have the materials required to close those gaps during a flood event. The last task is every 5 years, we're required to go and camera the outfalls from the dry side into the river. So those are conduits, whether it's pipe or boxes that go through the levees. So we have to camera those, and then we have to operate them to make sure that we can close those outfalls during a flood event. So that has to be updated and included in our certification package, so that you camera them and then you have a report completed and it's included in your package. But with those three things, those three items of scope, that would add $27,560 to the current contract with Wilson and Company. That would bring the overall levy certification package with them up to $199,692. But it's staff's recommendation to approve this amendment to help us get to the finish line on this project and complete that certification package. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Tanner?
Is there gonna be a phase 5?
No,
How long
please
do you wanna
no.
Stick around.
Please no.
Been dealing with this
I know.
my entire almost existence here, so.
Yes. Yeah, I'll be glad to see this one done, that's for sure.
You think this wraps it up?
Yes, I do.
Bold statement.
Well,
Just gonna
we have not purchased the closure materials yet, so there will be the purchase of some closure materials still, but we haven't determined what we're going to move forward with or use for that yet.
I was just gonna ask, task 2 and task 3. I mean, how long are those good for until you restudy the?
They will not restudy unless we wanted to try to make, or wanted to
Yeah.
pay for it to restudy it. They won't come back and look at it. There would have to be something significant
Yeah.
change for them to come back and look at it.
And then my final question was just, where did the initial funding come from for this? And then where's it coming from this time?
The Phase 4, we initially approved this contract with Wilson Company, that was supposed to come out of the stormwater fund.
So
So we just continue to take out of the stormwater fund to finish this.
We've
off.
bonded.
Oh, it's
for
right
some of
there,
it, you know.
stormwater fund, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for
the
asking.
construction activities, we bonded,
Yeah.
yes. But a lot of this design, I believe, was coming out of the
Yeah,
stormwater fund.
Smaller amounts, so.
Any other questions for Tanner?
Yeah, I think I just answered mine, so.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to approve the contract amendment from Wilson and Company to complete additional design in the amount of $27,560.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Next up is the approval of the proposed to design a 30-inch parallel sanitary sewer interceptor line to help relieve the flow in the existing 27-inch sanitary sewer interceptor. Report by Ray Slattery, City Engineer.
Mayor and Commissioners, tonight I'm asking your approval to the proposal for the design of the 30-inch parallel sanitary sewer with PEC in the amount of $325,800. Currently, the city has a 27-inch sanitary sewer interceptor that parallels the north bank of the river from near 701 East Trail to the primary pump station at the south end of McClaughlin Road number 1. This 27-inch line carries approximately 90% of the sanitary sewer flow generated in the city. We do know that from time to time this line is surcharged and probably acts more like a force main than a gravity sewer. This line is also starting to get some age on it, as it was constructed in the 40s and is made of vitrified clay pipe, which has been hit and repaired in the past. This is the only line that carries municipal flow from town to the pump station. If this line were to be damaged or needed to be taken out of service for some reason, there'd be no other way to carry the municipal flow to the pump station. With this proposal, we'll design a parallel 30-inch line to carry that sanitary sewer, more than likely a parallel or along the existing interceptor. The new interceptor will be slightly lower so that it'll carry the flow. And if for some reason the new interceptor would surcharge or need to be taken out of service, then flow could be put back into the 27-inch interceptor, and we would have some redundancy built into the system. This will be coming out of the sewer fund, and it was a budgeted expense. And we are also going to be looking at doing one small minor basin realignment on Wyatt Earp near 10th Avenue. We're going to put in a short segment of line to take sewer flow from one basin and dump it into another basin where we know that there isn't any surcharging taking place on that sewer line. That's also included in this proposal, along with the documentation for any easements that would be needed. And with that, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Ray?
So the red line, Ray, is that easement that we own that where the 27-inch line runs now? We do have some easements that we know of. I'm assuming we have others, but we may not be able to, we cannot find them. But that is the general layout of the existing 27-inch line. And you'll run just right alongside it? More than likely. We will probably look at an alternate alignment to maybe miss some more of the major item businesses or obstructions. Because it looks like it runs right across the Wetzel's, don't it? We do, and Mr. Wetzel is aware of that. He knows that we have a sewer line that runs through there. We also run under Southwest Livestock Feed Yards pins, and that's where, when they were doing some land leveling years and years ago, they took the top off the pipe, and we had a little geyser out there. But that's going to be the general layout of the new line.
Will affect any of the levee work we've just done
No.
in that drainage?
No.
No. Okay.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the proposal to design a 30-inch parallel sanitary sewer interceptor line from PEC Consultants in the amount of $328,800.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ray. Next up, we have proposal to design and provide bidding assistance and construction administration for 2 new municipal water wells. Report by Ray Slattery, City Engineer.
Mayor and Commissioners, tonight I'm asking your approval for the water well design proposal from PEC Consultants in the amount of $637,900. When the property was purchased for the North Reclamation Facility, the city also acquired 280 acre-feet of water rights. With the recent development of housing and others things in this area, there's a need for another supply of water in the north pressure zone. This well will provide an additional 88 million gallons per year, or 221,000 gallons a day for the north zone. Based on a usage of 150 gallons per day per person, the new well would support an additional 1,470 people in this area. The other well that will be designed for construction is one of the two of the rights that we purchased recently south of town. This line will connect to the raw water line from the south well field. This well will somewhat be earmarked for national beef. Once the rights are converted and a well constructed, there will be an additional 166 million gallons per year of water for use in the south zone. This proposal includes all the applications to DWR for the change of use, test well drilling, sampling, monitoring wells, well design, municipal well construction observation, well house design in both an in-town and out-of-town well house configuration, which both of which will include with and without a chlorine room, bidding services, and construction administration services. This will come from the water fund and is a budgeted expense. With that, I'd be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions for Ray?
Your Honor, I'd make a motion to approve the water well design proposal from PEC Consultants in the amount of $637,900.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
We have no other business. Staff reports. Nick? Go. Paige? Melissa? Bonnie? All right, seeing none, I'll seek a motion for an executive session.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion that the city commission recess into executive session pursuant to the exception found in KSA 75-4319B2. The justification for closing the meeting is to consult with an attorney on matters deemed privileged to the attorney-client relationship. The open meeting will resume in the city commission chambers in 30 minutes at, we will call it 8:08 p.m. The meeting will include all present commissioners, City Attorney Paige Gilmore, and City Manager Nick Hernandez. The City Commission will not take action upon returning to open session and prior to adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. The city commission is in executive session.